Welcome back to the Sound for More channel. Today I have the pleasure to introduce you to Tone2 RayBlaster 3. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe as it helps with growing the channel. Thank you very much. Additionally, I would like to give a thanks to the guys at Tone2 for giving me the opportunity to actually do a review of RayBlaster 3. So, we are inside the FL Studio on a MacBook Air M1 chip in terms of performance, and we have loaded Tone2 RayBlaster 3, as you can see on the screen. Really nice interface, this combination of colors, dark gray, orange and blue. Quite nice. As you can see, number of controls at the top, keyboard and at the bottom with pitch and modulation controls. As it says here, it is an impulse modeling synthesizer, so it uses waveforms, which it can also morph between them, and then it uses a sequence of bursts to actually play parts of those waveforms. So quite nice. A little bit like granular, but a little bit more than granular, because it can morph, of course, between the waveforms, and you can define the sequences as well, loading a predefined waveform for sequences in terms of how it produces those, how it plays samples from those waveforms. As always, typical interface from Tone2 products. So in the middle here, where it says arpeggiator, that is your category, and below where it says welcome RayBlaster, that is where you choose your preset. Of course, it says welcome here. You can click where it says arpeggiator. You can choose the different category. As you can see, arpeggiator, atmospheric, bass, demo, and I actually I would like to bring your attention to the category tutorial, because it contains presets, which by name, as you can see here, where it says 18 dB low pass, click on it, you see the list of your presets, and you can choose, for example, all pass filter, and it gives you an indication of how to set it up to actually produce that particular effect. Because indeed, as you can see on the screens, there is no selection for filters. RayBlaster has the ability to recreate those filters effect based on the windows that you can see here, which you can select here. Where it says cosine, you click here, you can choose the window type, which I'll explain in a moment. So you have the top left here, two oscillator 1 and 2, and each one can load the different waveforms and different controls. Then you have oscillator controls in the middle here, your arpeggiator and step sequencer here. Okay, so you can do gating as well, effect, LFO 1 and 2, envelope 1 and 2, right? And then you have here on the middle left additional parameters where you can choose your drive, glide, pan, unison, your overall envelope for amplitude. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward in terms of how to use it. So in the middle here, we have a browser. Click on browser. This is the typical interface that you find in many products from Tone2. So on the left-hand side, you choose the type and then the patch here. Then you have some information. And so, for example, you can say I go to gate, and you load a patch under that gate category. The load of the patches is instantaneous, really great. Lot of different presets, many that you can find. The standard one when you load for the first time RayBlaster is the Welcome RayBlaster from the arpeggiator category. Welcome to RayBlaster. Of course, as you change the pitch or you change the note, it will change the playback and the speed of the playback. Atmospheric, there is always a category for atmospheric, which is great. This is where you find a lot of those sounds that you can use for atmospheric effects, you know, soundscape type of productions, so great. You can achieve deep sounds, particularly with unison as well. You have hard sync as well, range modulation. Of course, effects as well. A lot of keys. Of course, leads. There's a new category called the new sounds for version 2.5. Of course, you can have also patches based on chords. Nice spell. I love the pads, really nice. I like this one, ABBA replaces. Epic, epic. Of course, a lot of plaques as well. Semi. Sequences, of course, always nice. Synth category. As I mentioned, you have a tutorial category, which is very, very useful if you want to know how to reproduce vocoder type of sound. Wavetable synthesis. And of course, you can check the controls here, right? And you can mix using, for example, this part here, move between one wave to the next. And of course, you have a vocal category.
I'll show you love. I'll show you love.
Let's party, let's party, let's party.
And a wobble category as well. So, a lot of fun, as you can see. Here you have a file menu. You can load patch, save patches as well. You can download sounds. You can visit Tone2 website. You can load and save arpeggiators as well. And you can export the different waveforms for both oscillator. And as you can see, it supports also resynthesis, which is great. A lot of the synth from Tone2 supports resynthesis. If you go to the edit menu, this is where you can initialize everything, the metrics, the ARP gate. You can copy oscillator 1 to 2 or vice versa, which is really good. Or you have different options to, for example, clean the metrics, which you find up here, metrics 1 and 2, 3, to set up your modulation, but you can initialize other specific part of the synth. So let's choose initialize everything. So you can see the category is changed to custom, and of course the patch or preset is in it. So let's start from the top left here. This is oscillator 1, then you have oscillator 2. And you can control the volume here, volume for oscillator 1 and volume from oscillator 2, right? At the moment, oscillator 2 is volume 0, and the volume of oscillator 1 is max, well, is 50. Of course, we can increase the volume. And down here, you have the master volume, okay, for both. So you choose a waveform, and you have different types, lots of different waveforms that you can choose from, okay? But the top one, of course, is load, which allows you to load a wave. So you click on that, and then it opens a menu where you can choose actually to load a waveform. And similar here, you can load 2 waveforms, and then you can move between the 2. You can set the starting position, of course, which is important. As you can see, when you leave the mouse cursor enough in terms of time on a control, it comes up with a tooltip, which is always useful. Down here where it says fish, you can choose the window, which influences the sound. Think about it a little bit more like a filter. Of course, the harmonic decides how effect controls the harmonic content of the oscillator. So if it is higher, then 1 becomes more bright and it repeats more quickly within the window defined here. If it's lower, it becomes, if it is negative, it becomes a little bit more of a darker sound. You can see it's controlling the repetition. And this is where you change your window. You can see. As I mentioned, you can change the start here. This is a starting offset for the phase of the oscillator, okay? You can see it's changing, it's moving. You have that reflected on the screen. You can morph. And then here is where you choose the sequences, right? You have a different type of impulse sequence you can choose from. Here you can act on pulse with modulation for the impulse sequence. Remember, if you right-click, you have different options like reset default value, all values, and then you can say modulate. So this is where you can add your modulation, you can remove your modulation. So if you want to modulate, for example, pulse with LFO, you choose the first one, then LFO1. And you can see here, it's gone to matrix 1. It says LFO1 is modulating oscillator 1. Pulse width, okay, maximum influence, it is here right on the right hand side. Now you can change here the frequency. You can see the LFO is pretty straightforward. You can choose different type of waveform here, frequency, bits per minute, sync, and then the phase, and you have two, LFO1 and LFO2, right? So pretty straightforward. So if you want to remove that, you just simply go here and then say remove modulation, right? You can see here from matrix 1 that modulation has disappeared. You can introduce pitch noise. You can also then set up the noise level. You can change to formant noise or to amplitude noise. And then you can boost frequency. But the beauty, of course, comes when you add the other oscillator. So down here in the middle, you have the controls. So formant, control, oscillator 1 for oscillator 1, oscillator 2, the tuning for both oscillator 1 and 2, the overall volume. You can control the dampness for both oscillators. If you want to do hard sync, if you want to do bit per minute sync as well, then you can control the low cut. Pan, of course, for both oscillator, right? You can decide how much of envelope you have influence on the format, okay, for both the oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. You have key tracking as well for both oscillator as well. Okay, you can see here ring modulation, phase as well, adjustment and drift adjustment, which is great in terms of drift and detuning. Double click to reset it. Okay. Now, so let's say that we want to adjust the formant here. We set this envelope to negative. We go here, right click here. We set envelope to be modulated by envelope number. Why not? Let's choose auxiliary envelope 1. Go to this one here. Here we go. Let's choose. Yeah, why not? We go here. Let's go to. Yeah, that's set correctly. So, yep, that's fine. Actually, let's reset this down to 0 there. Let's give it a bit of amplitude. You can see the symbol here, this orange symbol, click on it, you can see in a hold you can adjust the influence, okay, on envelope 1 to oscillator 1 format, okay. It's quite fast, and let's increase the decay here. Let's actually remove the attack. Here you can adjust also the shape of the envelope. And of course, if you don't want it, right click and select remove modulation. Okay, so you can play like that and adjust, add modulation against LFO 1 and 2 or different envelope 1 and 2 as well. Now, let's reset this. And let's play with the standard one and let's add unison. You can see, you can go up to 4 times. You can choose the tuning. You can adjust the pan, of course, here. The glide. Drive. Of course, you have your ADSR here. Which is useful if you want to create things like pad, give a high attack, of course. So your attack, decay, sustain, and release are here for your amplitude. Up here you have your arpeggiator, so click ARP step here, and then where it says off, say ARP sync or trigger, depending on which you prefer. So you can adjust the different controls. Again, if you don't remember how it works, just choose up here, move your cursor near the controls, and it tells you exactly how everything actually works. Of course, you can adjust the velocity, and you can adjust if you go straight, swing or not, the behavior, for example, up an octave. Sync the BPM in terms of subdivision as well, which is great. You can add effects, of course, so reverb large. You could add a delay. And of course, you also set it to off if you like. You have something about setup here. You can adjust the polyphony. As you can see, you can go up to polyphonic 64. You can decide if you want what type of boost you like. You want a high quality, or if you want to preserve CPU usage as well, you can change the size of the window, which also you can do if you click here on the bottom right on the corner. You have different selection, including support for 4K, 5K, 8K. So it's really good. And then you have 3 different pages of modulation. This is where you can decide the source here, like for example the LFO one destination. So you can say I'm going to volume, and then you set the intensity. You can also drag and drop, as you can see here. So drag and drop against, for example, the tuning, and you add an additional modulation. Okay, right-click that, remove the modulation if you don't like it. The best way to learn how to use it is to select a tutorial category, and then under that choose a patch. So if you want to do, for example, analog mood filter, you can see how in the settings how to emulate that type of sound. Or for example, you can say, all right, okay, I'm going to do some MS-20 filter. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and as always, see you next time. Bye.